So, not only in case of Brahma, but father is supposed to be treated like that. And Vedic culture teaches that parents are treated like as he is treating Brahma. So he says, although you are the creator, you give the mean of sustenance, yet he says that how can we serve you? Athapi na prajanam te sushrusha kena va bhavet. He says, what is the means by which we can serve you? What can we do to please you? This is the question he is asking. And tadvidehi namastubhyam karmasu idyatma shaktishu. He says, please instruct us. I am paying my obeisances to you, and tell me by doing which I will have fame in this world and I will achieve supreme destination. So that which is we are capable of doing according to our power, you will please engage us in that. So there are few points from this. First he says that karmasu idyatma shaktisu, that tell me that which is within my capacity to do. So everybody has their own capabilities, their own nature, and one works according to that, according to one's nature. Then one will make progress, one will remain satisfied. Otherwise there is what they call a job dissatisfaction. If it does not suit your nature and still you have to work, then you are dissatisfied. And it should be such that, it says, you also are not criticized by your work here. Because some people may be very expert in doing some criminal activities, maybe their nature. So that is not accepted. It says, yat kritva yasho, that by doing which I will get fame. And it's not that he wants to be famous, means the activities should be such that they are not troublesome to others, they are not causing disturbance to others. And bhaved gati amutracha, and then after death I should attain the supreme destination. So that means our activities should be such that they are not causing disturbance to us now and also after death. So mostly the present society is not interested in planning anything for future birth. They consider only this particular life, and that also they don't consider very deeply. They don't plan it very well. So just now in few years whatever I can enjoy, no matter what happens after 10 years, 15 years or in the old age, and forget about next life. So Manu is instructing this. If we want peace and happiness in the society, then it comes by having proper human relationship. At least first there should be peace in the family itself. If there is peace in the family, then there is peace in the society. Because society is made of families. And if families are disturbed, then all kinds of social problems arise. Whether it is drug addiction or criminal activities, they come because there is somewhere problem in the family. If children are satisfied in their family relations, And they are not going to become terrorists. They are not going to become drug addicts. They are not going to become thieves, mafias, none of these things. So the root cause of the problem lies in the disturbance, dissatisfaction in the family, which is very much prevalent now. Because people are unhappy in family, then there is no care for the children. Children are doing their own thing, or parents are busy making money. They have no time for the children. And even if they have time, then they are not doing well with each other. There is divorce, and children are confused now. They have different set of parents after a few years. So this does obviously, then they cannot feel that I can treat my father or mother as God. You read in the newspaper all the time the way these people behave, at least all these which are supposed to be the model for the society, all these celebrities. And how can their children treat them like gods? So parents are also behaving like this, and there is a whole parampara for this. So then, what can you expect? The whole education, whole entertainment industry is not bothered about any of these principles. So there is not much comment on these verses. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that हे ईड्य आत्मशक्तिषु अस्मच्छक्यसु कर्मसु मध्ये केन कर्मणा ते शुश्रूषा भवेत् तद्विदेहि आज्ञापयति. He is saying that, O worshipable Father, the energy, power, capacities which I have and the activities which I can perform, among them by which work I can serve you. So he may have many abilities, but he is asking what is the best that I can do for you. Yat kritva sthitasya mame iti adhyahari. By doing this, which I will be famous and I will attain the supreme destination. So this was his question. This is what is submitted to his father. This is how also a disciple approaches the teacher. Now Brahma, he speaks. Pritastubhyamaham tata swasti stadvam kshitishvara yannirvyalikena hirda shadhima ityatmanarpitam. So Brahma, after hearing these words, he was very pleased. It's very difficult to please somebody. Even to please one person is very hard. And to please some big person is even more difficult, because you never know what goes on in their mind. To please some simple person who is not highly educated, it is easy. Give some food, cloth, some entertainment, he is pleased. To please someone like Brahma, who has so much knowledge, who is self-satisfied, can also please a person who has some desire, then you fulfill that desire. And he is happy. But to pleasing someone like Brahma, who is Vedagarbha, who is the father of the Vedas, it's not easy. But he was pleased by the simple behavior of Manu. He said, Pritas tubhyam aham tata. He says, my dear child, I am very pleased with you. And what is the reason? And he is calling him Kshitishwara, that you are the Lord of the earth. Yan nirvalikena hrida shradhi ma iti atmanate. Says that with sincerity, with purity of heart, without any deceptive mentality, from your heart you have spoken that instruct me, and thus you have surrendered, Atmanarpitam. You have done samarpan of yourself, and this is not a show, but actually coming from your heart. And he says that this has touched my heart very much. So there was no such talk about the other sons he has produced. At least we did not read. It does not mean that they did not behave like this. Maybe they also approached Brahma and asked what they can do for him. But in case of Manu, it is a direct, explicit explanation, description, that he approached him and submitted himself, that what can I do? So now when we come to spiritual life, we take initiation, Diksha, and this is the meaning. Here there is no official Diksha. It's not that Brahma is giving him some bead bag or he chanted some mantra in his ears. There was no need for that. There was no formality done. But if you see the relationship, it is just like a very dedicated disciple having samarpan, surrender towards his Guru. And this is most satisfying. If there is a bona fide teacher and there is a proper disciple, then it is a very pleasing relation. Because a bona fide teacher is not interested in anything else but in the welfare of the disciple. The disciple becomes advanced in spiritual life, on spiritual path. And that means he gives up the mentality to enjoy and think independent. Because the real problem in the material life is that we think we are independent. This is the Anadi Avidya, the beginningless ignorance, the root cause of our existence here in the material world. And therefore, surrender is the beginning of spiritual life. And it is for this reason that Vedic culture was designed like this, to make one surrendered, whether surrender to the parents and surrender to the Guru, and then if a woman marries, then surrender to the husband. The idea was that when someone can surrender like this, then it is very easy to surrender to God also. And the surrender begins to those people who have done welfare to you, so it is easy to surrender to such people. Every child knows that parents take care of them. So then it is natural, it's not so hard to surrender to them. And similarly towards the Guru, because he is teaching. So then you can also surrender to the Supreme Person. But if that education is not there, those samskaras are not there, then there is problem. So here this is being depicted. Bhagavatam starts that Vedyam Vastamatra Vastu Shivadam, that you know the true reality here, and Dharma Projita Kaitu, that Param Dharma is being described. So this is the foundation of that Supreme Dharma. Supreme Dharma ultimately is Priti, love, and that is based on Samarpan. Because in love there is a natural Samarpan. Here also Manu is naturally surrendered. He was not trained. He did not undergo any education. At least there is no description. Maybe Brahma taught him, I don't know, but at least in Bhagavatam it is not stated that he gave him some lessons. He was naturally like that, coming from his past life. So Sri Vishnu Chakravarti says that Tubhyam Pritaye iti Patya Shetaye iti Vat Sampradam. So this is a grammatical explanation why fourth case is used, Tubhyam Prita, which actually means that I am pleased with you for your sake. Means I am pleased with you and this is beneficial to you. That's why fourth case is that. Ato vo vam yuvabhyam stri punsabhyam eva swasti syat. And therefore, let there be all auspiciousness on both of you. It was Manu who was speaking, but wife is along with her. Wife does not speak. Husband speaks, he is the representative for both. So there is swasti. The swastik sign, this is the sign of auspiciousness. It comes from this word swasti. So he says, let there be swasti on you, both of you. And Bhagavatam says, swasti stad vam. Vam means both of you, let it be. Yad yata ma mam shadhi anusikshe. Why is that? Because you have said that you please instruct me what I have to do. As Arjuna also, Bhagavad Gita also begins from here. Karpanni doso pat svabhava prachami tvam dharma sammuna cheta. Said I am asking you, sadhimam tvam prapannam. Same word is used, shadhi. That instruct me. So here also Shadhi is saying that. Yada Shadhi ma iti atmana arpitam. Iti atmana swayameva arpitam. Says you have done it yourself. Not that somebody has preached to you. Somebody has convinced you to do this. Swameva arpitam vishesha pad anuktaya ahanta aspada mamata aspadadikam sarvameva niveditam. Now here it is not stated what is that he offered. Atmana arpitam. You have offered it. But what you have offered is not described. So he is explaining that vishesha pad anuktaya, that what is the object of offering is not stated. So he says that he offered everything. And what is everything? Everything belongs to I. If you have house, wife, husband, children, money, bank balance, that all belongs to you. So if you offer yourself, then all that is also offered. So therefore ahamta and mamta, that I-ness and my-ness, whatever is related with that, that is all offered. That is the meaning of samarpan. That is the meaning of surrender. So the problem comes from the ego, ahankar. And if that ego is surrendered, then that problem is gone. So that's why bhakti is the only one which solves problem. Yoga does not solve the problem. You can practice yoga, you can do pranayam, asana, meditation, but your ahimta is there, your I remains. I is not offered. So on all other paths, I is not offered. So you remain what you are. You may develop some abilities, control of mind, and you can make your mind thoughtless. You can live in the present. You can do whatever you like to do, but you remain you. So the root is not cut. Therefore it is said that it is only bhakti which liberates one. So nobody can get liberation without bhakti. Because in bhakti this is the beginning, that you offer your I, then you are free immediately. And so it is also said that bhakti liberates you immediately. Because the bondage is not somewhere else. The knot is in the I. It is the I which is tying. I tie. So that is called Hridaya Granthi, the knot in the heart. And it can be removed only by samarpan. So he is saying that please tell me what I can do. And this shows that usually you do service and then the result of service is that the person you are serving is pleased. Here Brahma is pleased before the service is done. Means the result is coming before the action. It's called cart before the horse. It's putting the cart before the horse. Because he was saying, Sushrusha Kenva Syat, tell me how I serve you. And obviously the object of service is to make him happy. But he is already happy. He says, Pritastubhyam. I am pleased with him. Because the real pleasure comes not by the action, but by the motivation behind the action, which is surrender, service in the sense. So, his life is already successful because Brahma is pleased. That's why he was so eager. Vidura was so eager to hear about Manu. And we may wonder that why Vidura wants to hear about Manu, because he is saying that this is the perfection of education, that we hear about devotees, and we may think how Manu is devotee. Because we don't hear his name among the devotees. He hears names of so many devotees, but we can see from this. So, when Brahma says that let there be auspiciousness on you, he is also informing Manu that usually people think that auspiciousness, perfection comes when one takes sannyas and becomes a Swami and gives up family attachments, family life. And here Brahma is going to put him in family life. He is not going to ask Manu that, okay, my dear child, take sannyas, leave your wife and go to forest. He is going to ask him that you be with your wife and produce children. So how can there be auspiciousness in that? So Brahma is already informing him that this is your service. So people ask questions that how can we do service with our senses. Just recently I got one email that how service can be done with the genitals. And then some commentary he was quoting. Because earlier he had asked this question and I explained, and now he read commentary of Bhagavatam where he was writing that except for gopis, then others cannot do service to Krishna. This sense. So he was seeing some contradiction. So of course, the commentary says direct service. So this shows how bhakti can be performed with all our senses. Nobody thinks of doing spiritual advancement with the genitals. And this will make one advance and please the Lord. But Brahma is saying that Swasti Stadvam, that all auspiciousness for you, because he is going to engage him in the pravritti marg. There is pravritti marg and there is nivritti marg. There is a path of renunciation and there is a path of attachment. So one may have a doubt that how is that Manu is going to achieve perfection. And he called him Kshitishwar, that you are the king. There was no kingdom. That means he is going to be king, means more responsibilities. Management. If you have to manage a kingdom, just managing small house is a problem and managing kingdom is more problem. And then how one will make spiritual advancement with that. So if Manu asked that how is that you are pleased, I have not even done any service to you yet. So then answer is given that Nirvalikena Hridasana. He says this is the best service. Because once you surrender, then what are you going to do now except do service? And if surrender is not there, even if you do service, then after some time it is not guaranteed what will you do. Because you are independent. So surrender is the basis of all service. When surrender is there, then service will happen naturally. Therefore Brahma, who knows this, he was immediately pleased. So really speaking, pleasing is easy, although it seems very difficult that how can we please somebody like Krishna who does not want anything and who has got so many perfect devotees with him. So where do we stand any chance to come in his group? So this is the mantra given here. Nirvalikena hrida sadhi maiti atmanarpitam. So basically, sincerity, purity of heart. That's all is needed. After all, Krishna is not needing anything else. He just wants to see that we are sincere and we are dedicated in the true sense. That's all. Not that you have to do big. We get into big things, that we have to open so many temples, we have to distribute so many books. So those things are good, but this is the key, this is the foundation. So sarvam eva niveditam, everything is offered. Etavatyatma jairvira karya hi apchiti guru satya pramattair griyeta sadhanam gatamatsaraihi. So he says that, my dear hero, this is how the sons should worship the father. He's saying that you are setting an example. Very good example. Eta Vatyatma Jaiv Veera Karya Hi Achiti Guru. Guru is also used for father. Father, mother, senior. Guru does not always mean teacher. Guru means any senior person. Even elder brother is Guru. Guru means senior. So here Guru is used for father. It says this is how the father should be honored. Apchiti means worship by the sons, not by doing arti, but by surrendering. And he is calling him Veera. Veera means hero, chivalrous person. Because this is the greatest chivalry that one can surrender. There are great heroes, great warriors, fighters, conquerors of the world, but they are not as heroic as a person who can surrender. Because for this one has to have control over one's mind, senses, desires. You can control people outside, but to control your own mind, not having any other desire, this is the real heroism. So, fighting with the sword, that many people can do, but having your own mind in your grip, that is real, and then surrendering that, this is real hero. And then he says that he says that with one's power, strength, one should perform this activity with respect and without any matsarya, without any hatred for others. So matsarya can also come. One can also become envious when one performs service, and if there are other people they are performing service, one can also have envy for that. One can also have envy for the teacher or for the father, because he may give instructions in such a manner that you don't like it. So then you think that why he is asking me to do this. So therefore he says Gat Matsara. So this is also said in the Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaitavatra nirmatsaranam satam. Nirmatsar means same as Gat Matsara, without matsarta, matsarya, without the jealous feeling, or not being able to tolerate others' progress, others' status. This happens in our mind, that we have this feeling that I am supreme, I am better than other. How can somebody be better than me? So this is a very big problem in the spiritual path, this Matsarta. Matsarta actually comes from this word Mattasarti iti Matsar. Mat means me and Sar means to move. Like you have serpent. Why serpent is called serpent? Because it is crawling. So you see somebody progressing, and then you say, oh, this guy is progressing beyond me, Matta, Sarti. He's just passing by me, leaving me behind. So immediately you start disliking that person. And it is described in 11th Canto of Bhagavatam that even the Devas, demigods, they place obstacle for devotees because they see that this guy was born just recently and now he's even going to go beyond us. These demigods, Devas, they are there for thousands and thousands of years, for a long period. They stay, and then they see some human being taking birth, and in a few years he is becoming a great devotee, and which means even superior to them. So they become envious. And then they put trouble for the devotees. So he says that you should be humble, respectful, and gat matsara. Don't become envious, jealous, especially of the teacher or of the father here in this case, because they have naturally superior position and we are surrendering to them, so they become the object of our envy because our ego is surrendered to them, which ego does not like. So they actually become the object of rivalry of our ego. And how is this? So this is the spiritual problem which comes because of this surrender. So therefore it is said sadharam, that you do it with respect, apramattai, without getting mad. So remaining normal or remaining careful, not becoming lax. So in this way one should accept the order and perform and follow that order. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says that apchitihi puja. Apchiti means worship. Etavatya eva karya, that it should be done in this manner, kiyati, or this much, iti akankshayaamaha. How it has to be done? Then apramattai shaktya griyeta sadharam gatmatsara, means accepting the order, instruction, the teachings of the Guru with careful mind. Apramatta means careful, not taking it in a disrespectful manner or like without giving value to it. And sadharam, with respect, yatha bhavati, tatha yatha shakti grihiyate. So as one has the power, the capacity, then one should accept it. So this is also important. Yatha shakti, before also it is said, everybody does not have the power to follow everything. So he was very careful in saying that please give me instruction as per my ability. And Brahma is also saying that one should follow the instructions as per one's ability. Of course, many times we are said that the power comes by the grace or power comes by the instruction itself. So we have to see this. You should also not be blind, obviously, and kill oneself. So it says, Shaktya apramattai griyeta sadhanam gatamatsara. Every word is important. And as per one's power, one should take it carefully. So that means one has to be attentive. It is not blind following. And respectful and not finding faults. Gatamatsara. So then this is how the service has to be done, and then this will be very beneficial. This will bring auspiciousness for the student, for the son. So this is the process of spiritual advancement being explained in simple words. Sattvam asyam patyani sadrishani atmano gunaihi utpadya shasha dharmena gam yajjaihi purusham yaja. So now he is giving the instruction. What specifically he has to do. One may think that this was a nice instruction. Guru gives instructions like this. May not be a big problem to follow. Says that Swatam Asyama Patyani Sadrishani Atmano Gunai Utpadya. That you produce children in your wife. This is the instruction.
Spiritual instruction.
Yes. But they should be like you. Sadrishani Atmani Gunai. Says they should have qualities like you. So Brahma is saying to Manu that you produce children in your wife. This is the seva. But they must have character like you. Not useless children. Some derelicts, juvenile criminals, funky guys. No. So just as he was surrendered to Brahma, dedicated, so in the same way, you should produce children. So this is very nice. If everybody follows like this, then this world will become Vaikuntha.
In this instruction is also involved blessings of God. Can you say?
What blessing? Blessing he already gave. He already said, my blessing to you. Now he is asking him to do work. And then next he is giving 3 instructions to him. Not just producing children and bas. And he is saying that also rule over the earth with religious principles. Swasa dharmena gam. Gam means Prithvi, earth. You rule over it, but dharmena, with dharma. Following the means establish the principle of dharma in the society. And yajyai purusham yaja. And worship the Lord with sacrifice. So this is a very good program. That you have children, children should be well behaved. They should be well trained. And you rule over the earth, as he is the king, and also worship the Lord with sacrifice. So this will bring prosperity and peace in the society, because he is good king, good children, and then sacrifice means keeping harmony in the nature. So this will be perfect society. This is what Brahma wanted from Manu. So there is just one comment. Purusham sarva yajna bhoktaram. Purusha here means one who is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. Supreme Lord. So we'll stop here. Any question?
Yeah, a question about Brahma seeing in Manu the qualification, which is the only real qualification which is needed to be a disciple in this surrender. So then, how he could recognize this quality in him, since he didn't have, this was like...
Why he recognized this quality? Because he surrendered to him. And then he's only saying that I'm happy that you surrendered. What recognition are you talking? Manu went to him and he says, I am surrendered to you. Please instruct me what I can do to please you.
Yeah, so then this is...
So where is the question of recognizing him? It's not that he was reading his mind or
Yeah,
something.
but he was not, up to that point, he was not engaged in any activity or something that was showing his surrender. He was just submitting himself to him.
So what, he should doubt that he is telling lies or no? Where is the question of doubting what he is saying? Why should Brahma doubt Manu?
Doesn't exist any reason for that.
Yes. So therefore he believes what he is saying.
Because we were being told that to be surrendered we need a whole list of qualities that no, I don't compare myself with one, but I just see the surrender of heart. So then for a general person to be surrendered to a guru, to a teacher, or to a spiritual figure, the first thing is just to say it, and then it's done.
You believe in that. You do it from your heart. That's all.
Well, here we have a situation that is like, that is a perfection. But obviously, not everybody is a Manu. And I suppose not every guru is a Brahma. So,
Yes.
where does the element of sadhana come in this? I mean, practice. Obviously, if you don't have the perfection like a Manu, you have, when you want to come to this elevated state, you have to practice. So you have to come from the stage of jealousy and enviousness and whatnot to this purity.
So therefore the hearing. Because when we hear like this, then we understand that this is the standard. And look how these people are great and this is how I want to be. So that's why hearing is very important. If we don't hear and we are not perfect, then we will not become perfect without hearing. So hearing is the key. Hearing properly from the proper source, and especially hearing Bhagavatam and Goswami literature, because all Goswami books are basically speaking this point. This is the essence of our education. And that's why Vidura said it. That hearing about devotees, which also means hearing Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is about devotees. Or hearing about devotees, in the recent past, who have lived according to Bhagavad. So that is purifying, that is also sadhana. Because first you have to grasp the concept. Perform sadhana, whether it is kirtan or sravan or japa or whatever. And according to me, hearing is most purifying. And therefore, hearing is said as the first in the list, Shravanam.
So you were mentioning this, the horse, the cart before the horse thing. So here Brahma was pleased before Manu got into action. So in the case of a sadhaka, the pleasure of the guru or satisfaction of the guru comes after the sadhaka has gone through the whole practice and become, I don't know, a siddha or whatever. Or
No, it actually comes if sincerely one surrenders. And Guru will also be pleased with that. Because really speaking, this is a game of sincerity. When sincerity is there, then other things will come sooner or later. It does not mean that perfection is just in one shot. It can also happen in one shot. But mainly if Guru sees that somebody is sincere, even if does not have all the wonderful qualities, then that is pleasing. Because then he knows that this person is on the right track, and all the other deficiencies will be removed because of sincerity. But if sincerity is not there, then you can go on doing sadhana. It's like keeping the anchor and rowing the boat, so you don't move anywhere.
sincerity is a very sensitive thing.
Yes, it's a sensitive, but that's where one has to develop self-awareness or introspection. You have to study your own heart, and you will know. It is not that somebody else has to say this to you and you feel, well, he said like this. We usually become disturbed because somebody says something. And disturbance can be both ways, by glorification or criticism. But actually, if we are grounded in our own self, if I know myself, then I don't become disturbed. And if somebody is telling me something about me that I lack this, then why shall I become disturbed? I should be happy that somebody is actually being courageous to tell me. Because usually people don't tell others' mistakes in front of them. They will talk behind the back. So apatyasya priyasya cha vakta shrota cha durlabha. It is rare to find somebody who speaks in front of you your defects. It is very rare. And it is also very rare that someone speaks defects and the other person actually hears it. Usually the person freaks out. So he says both are rare.
So you would define sincerity, or a sincere person is he or she who is willing to accept hearing one's own faults?
Yes, that is sincerity. And if somebody is freaking out, then that is not sincerity. So Kabir has one very nice poetry. He says, Nindak niyare rakhiye, angan kuti chabaye. He says that you should keep your critics near to you. In fact, he says you should make a hut for them in your courtyard, so that they live next to you. And it is also, this is beside the point, but you have the word near in English. Near means close by. Same word he is using. Because there was no English at that time, but it looks like. It says, Nindak niyare rakhi. Niyare is near. Rakhi means keeping. Nindak means critics. I don't know how the English word comes and it's there in Hindi. Nindak niyare rakhi. Angan kuti chaba. Kuti means make a kuti for him. So Kabir was a realized person. And He's saying this.
So when you truly hear scriptures with sincerity, faith, and you're surrendered, then there won't be any manifestation of cheating oneself or cheating God.
Yes. What can you cheat God? We actually cheat ourselves. Cheating of God.
It is said that the devas sometimes try to, stop one the difficulties to the disciple. But what is the case if the disciple is surrendered completely? The effectiveness of
Yeah, it doesn't affect him. That is another thing.
that they cannot affect the devotee who is surrendered.
But it must also be very difficult to really be sincere critics.
Yeah. Because only a person, that's why I said that it is very rare that somebody is sincerely telling you your problem.
Because many times we see that criticism sprouts from insincerity.
So, only a person who is really your well-wisher and who is also advanced, and he tells you something. And other people may speak so many things just to put you down, or that is different. But in any case, even if they are saying the right thing about you, you accept it. That is their problem, whether they are sincere or not sincere.
Now there is a saying in English that in every accusation there is a grain of truth.
Every means most, it is not necessary that all the time it is like that. Sometimes it's not. But yes, in the material world, usually that is the case. Because nobody is perfect here. But it may not apply on the spiritual path.
So a devotee deals with criticism as sent from Krishna.
Yeah,
Krishna trying to make me aware of defects that I have.
the
and I
devotee
cannot
always sees
myself.
things. This is the view of devotee. He always sees things arranged for one's advancement. But as he was saying that even demigods can put obstacle. Yes, they put obstacle and we have to deal with it. That is another thing. The situation is there, you got to deal. It's not that, well, I just accept and you have to do your service.